because I had literally spent like the previous 2 years being so mad and angry at him. Being vulnerable and being soft is not a weakness. I really didn't understand how essential it is to give that level of energy to your marriage. And it's not something that just grows on its own.
Well, hello, Sophie. You're here. Oh, my goodness. The conversation that we're going to have today is going to be one that I'm going to try to calm down because I think it's going to be emotional for me. And I'm going to explain that to you during our conversation. And before we have this conversation, I would like to take a moment, Sophie, and I want to read a bio. Just to give our listeners some background of, who I'm talking to today. And if you don't mind, is that okay?
Absolutely. Yeah. I'm excited.
Okay, here we go. Let me get this going, you guys. I'm just going to read this real quick. All right. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Sophie Orozco, a powerhouse marriage and relationship coach who helps women transform disconnection into deep emotional and physical intimacy. She's the founder of the Relationship Miracle Method, a proven framework that helps women reignite passion, rebuild trust, and restore safety and love in their marriage that feels stuck or on the edge of breaking down. Sophie's work blends psychology, communication, and feminine embodiment, guiding women to create lasting change in their homes without forcing or controlling, but by leading from softness and strength. Her story is deeply inspiring. As a wife, a mother of four, she has walked through the hard seasons herself, turned them into her purpose, and today her mission is to show women that healing, reconnection, and real partnership are absolutely possible. Sophie, welcome. Oh my goodness, I am truly honored to have you here today. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here with you today, Charlene.
Oh my goodness. And the reason why I said to you, earlier when I just started talking, and I also want you to give us a little background about yourself. But the reason why I said that is because I was married before. I was married to my ex-husband for 23 years. And I'm remarried now and I have things are good. It's a different marriage. But when I started, really learning about you and the work that you're doing and how powerful it is and how you are really truly helping people and changing lives and helping marriages not only like just get better but thrive in a completely different way than they've had before. And honestly, I look back at my own personal journey and I'm not kidding you. I wish that there was a conversation like this. I wish that there was a podcast like this. I wish I, was able to talk to someone like you that gets it in not only by the work that you're actually doing and all the transformations you're making with clients, but gets it by applying it herself. It has nothing to do with that I'm not happy, Sophie, in my marriage. I love my husband. I think the way my life went is exactly the way it needed to go. It's just how it is. But I also believe that all of us, we all have opportunities, seriously, to grow, to learn, to change, and get a different perspective. And sometimes, what really keeps us stuck is ourselves because we can't see ourselves. And so I am so grateful for this conversation today. And I'm just so grateful for you. So thank you for being here.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so grateful to be here, and it's such an important conversation to have. Absolutely.
Sophie, take us back. Tell us a little bit about who you are and and how you got into this work. And now I know it's your life passion. I know you're a mom, but I want a little history here. Can you just give us some information about who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm a marriage coach. My specialty is in marriage turnaround, helping people who are on the brink of divorce bring their marriages back. I'm a mom of four little kids. My oldest daughter is 10 and my youngest is now 5. So a very, very busy household. And I've always had a fascination with relationships, really from like my 20s.
Yeah.
Really struggled in relationships. I would either attract the wrong person and get into terrible breakups and be distraught, or I would get together with a really nice guy and get really bored of him, and eventually he would leave me, and I would be like, oh, on to the next. And so I've been trying to figure out relationships pretty much my whole time that I've been in relationships, alongside just being totally passionate about psychology, personal development. I was doing like personal development and breath work and yoga, like since I was 14, 15 years old, when
Wow.
nobody was into that stuff at all.
Yeah, yeah.
And I studied psychology in college. I was totally fascinated. I worked at a maximum security psychiatric prison, essentially working with inmates there. And then I got into working in schools, working with behavior modification, just really interested with why people do what they do, and how the mind works. Always been so fascinated in that, but never really thought like I would be a marriage coach.
Oh.
Can you hear me? Or did it
Yeah,
break
no,
up there?
I'm so sorry. Yeah, we
Okay.
lost you for just a second. Okay. What did you say?
Yeah, I never thought that I would be a marriage coach. It wasn't on my radar. I wasn't like, I want to be a marriage coach. But me and my husband met after I'd worked with a relationship coach. I'd been in this relationship, which I tried to figure out. It didn't work out. And I really magically, in the most like unbelievable way, met my husband, and we got together really quickly and we started having kids. And I was like, I got this relationship thing down. Like I figured it out, right? Like it's easy. Yeah. And then it kind of like, I forgot that I even like had worked on it. I just put it to the side, got super busy with my kids and my life and my career. And suddenly, as things do for a lot of people, I think, especially a lot of moms with young kids, like life started to build. Like we had lots of children very quickly. We both had a lot of work stress. We had financial stress. My younger sister was diagnosed with terminal cancer. So I had a lot of grief around that and trying to process that relationship. And whilst all this was going on, I really didn't realize it, but my marriage was crumbling at the same time.
Wow.
And I just thought it will get better. It will get better. Or marriage is meant to be like this. I didn't really realize the extent of the damage that was really happening. And my husband would try and come to me and share kind of, what he was thinking and saying, I don't think we spend enough time together. And I was like, what do you mean? Like we see each other every day, when you come home from work. And I wasn't really hearing him because I was so preoccupied with everything else that I had going on. And at the same time, I was really living in survival mode. So I was super burnt out. I was very resentful. There was no physical intimacy really going on in my relationship at that point. And so my husband kind of threw himself into work, and he was working like all the hours. And by the time my fourth baby was born, I'd stopped working for a period of time. And I felt very isolated, super isolated, very much alone. And then the pandemic hit, and then my sister died, and I was just a mess. And at the same time, my husband came to me and said, I think I want a divorce.
Oh.
And so actually, in the same week that my sister died of cancer, my husband was like, well, actually, I pushed it. I was like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on?
Okay.
And he was like, I'm just not happy. Like, I think I want a divorce.
Okay.
And I remember that moment of looking at him and being like, oh my gosh, like I knew things were bad. I really did, but I didn't know they were that bad. I didn't think he would ever like call it,
Call it, yes.
Yeah. And I just thought, we'll figure it out. It will get better. I'd been trying to read self-help books. I kind of knew psychology principles, but nothing I was doing was working. I was trying to get him to go see a marriage therapist. He wouldn't go. I went to a marriage therapist who essentially said, like, maybe you should get a divorce. Um,
Oh, wow.
yeah, he's like, it doesn't sound like he wants to be with you. Just like this, no real good advice. But I
Yes.
was also so overwhelmed that I didn't even know how to start to apply the advice that I was like hearing and reading. So when my husband said, I want a divorce, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to figure this out. Like, I do not want to get a divorce. I didn't want to be a single parent, but that really wasn't it. I knew that I loved my husband. I
Yes.
knew that we could have a good marriage. I just didn't know how, right? And
Got it.
especially at that point. And funnily enough, I was talking to my husband just the other night, and very similar to what you were sharing, Charlene. Like, he was saying, Sophie, like, most people don't know that once you've gotten to the stage of a complete breakdown in a relationship, that there's anything that you can do to turn it around, right? They just don't know that it's possible. And so when my
Oh,
husband,
that's so powerful that you just said that.
yeah, yeah, because it's like you get to that point, and even the things that my husband was saying to me, like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore, right? Like,
Mm, mm.
um, I just don't know how. I'm just not happy. I'm just not happy. Anyway, so we were right at that stage, and I was like, obviously, beside myself. My sister had just died. I had 4 babies, 4 kids under the age of 5 years old. We were
Talk about
living in the middle of
timing.
nowhere. Yeah, I
Oh
was
my
just
goodness.
like, what's going on with my life? And he decided to move out, so we got separated. But at that moment, I was like standing there, and I had this realization after all the breakups that I'd had in my life and all the different relationships that I'd had, and even from my childhood, I was like, this feels so familiar. This feeling
Mm,
of being left, this feeling of being abandoned, this feels so familiar to me. And how am I
mm.
here when I really thought I'd figured this out, right? And to be completely honest with you, I never thought he would leave me, right?
I
I
know.
thought,
I don't think we would do. I don't think us women think that they'll leave.
no, I was like, I'm the catch. Like, it
Yeah.
sounds really arrogant, but I
Yeah, they're
really
like, I
truly
mean,
thought.
he's might say it, but not gonna actually do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so, it was a real shocker for me to be in that situation, but there was something about it that felt so familiar that I prayed on it. Like, I asked God, the universe, like, what should I do? Right? This was
Yes.
like what my prayer was. What should I do? And the only thing that I heard was, be still. Be still, right?
That's
And
good.
so I didn't panic. I didn't rush. I didn't like throw all his stuff on the driveway and be like, get out. And,
Get out.
this
Okay, you don't wanna be
over.
with me, then it's over. Bye. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't retaliate. I really like dug deep, and I thought, this is an opportunity for me to heal something that I think I've had in me for a really long time. And I thought, I know that I can save this marriage. I just need to know how.
You just need to know how.
I just need to know how to do it. Right. And so I said to my husband, because he was like, I'm unhappy and I'm unhappy. And so I was like, listen, I can't hold you here against your will, and I'm not going to. So if you want to leave, I love you, leave, go ahead. Right. And I really surrendered to him, like, leaving, and I
Yes.
really started to trust that this was an opportunity for me to learn something, that there was a lesson here for me.
Wow.
And even with 4 babies and feeling so distraught and alone, I felt like there was a big blessing here. And so I thought, I'm going to figure this out.
Okay.
And when I put my mind to something, I can be very determined. And so, the first thing was Googling, how do you save your marriage? Like, literally, I went to a therapist who was like, there's not a different therapist. And he was like, Sophie, there's nothing that you can do, right? If he's not in love with you anymore, there's nothing that you can do.
Oh, how disencouraging. Oh my goodness. You're like,
But I was like,
wow.
I am
But
not
okay,
taking that.
maybe that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I'm not going to take that for an answer. Like, that's not, And the thing is, this wasn't coming from a place of like, I will die if he doesn't come back, right? This was truly
No.
coming from a place of like, I just know. I know that I can figure this out.
Because I think you knew you can figure it out, because I think you had a realization with yourself, like you just said, that there was a familiarity feeling already. And I think that's what happens with us in relationships. It does feel familiar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a pattern.
Our patterns are familiar.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I thought I was 40 years old, just turned 40, I think, or 39. And I was like, if I don't heal this now, I'm going to keep doing this. And
Right.
I want, and my one of my other motivations was like, I want to know that I've done everything in my power and this is not on me,
Yes.
you know?
Yes. Yes.
And I had felt like there was ways that I had been showing up in the marriage that I knew deep down weren't weren't healthy, right? And weren't right.
Right.
Like I was very
Right.
protected, very guarded, very cold, very distant. I had like lots of big walls up that like protected me, supposedly,
Gotcha.
right? But it also
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
kept him out, right? It definitely
Yeah.
kept him out. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. This is, oh, wow. Thank you for sharing that. That really gives us an insight. That's, as you were talking, which is, again, fascinating to me because it's so relatable. How many
Yeah.
times, do we hear relationships? You can have love there and things, for the most part, but as years go by, they don't understand. And there's this big disconnect, right? There's this
Absolutely. Yeah.
disconnect. So, you get and yeah, and a lot, and especially, marriages will go through different seasons. And of course, the season of raising kids, that is such a challenging stage at times because we got a lot of moving parts, and then if we are not aware of ourselves, like you said, you already had your blocks up too, and you had your mama hat on, which I get it, you had 4 kids, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But not really understanding, when your husband would come to you and share a little bit, and like you said, you're already at that, I'm taking you back. When that was happening, you're not where you're at now, but when that was happening, the way that you were showing up was protecting yourself more, like not really understanding what was going on, or like you said, not really believing, okay, maybe we could fix that later. But it's not like he's gonna leave.
Yeah.
Something like that. I think that's something that we do in relationships. We feel
Yeah.
that.
And
We
I
feel
think that,
like, tell me.
yeah, I don't think that, and it's if you look at like a Hollywood movie, right?
Okay.
Like
Yeah.
it leads up to the marriage, and then everyone gets married and it's happy ever after, and then it's like that's done. Like marriage, check, right? And like
You're like,
that was me.
no.
Marriage, check. And then my attention went from my marriage onto other things in my life, my children,
Yes.
my work, right? And I was like, I knew that I needed to give my children a lot of time and energy and love. And I think that that's very natural and normal, right? As women, that we nurture that. But anytime my husband came to me, I was like, oh, he needs something else from me, right? He's not one of my children. He's fine. And I really didn't understand the how essential it is to give that level of energy to your marriage. And it's not something that just grows on its own. It's like a flower, like literally you have to water it. You have to pour into it in order for it to thrive. And in order for these like seasons of life in order for you to have that like strong foundation for these seasons of life, like parenting. Absolutely.
Sophie, how in the discovery and the work that you're doing, how does this truly start? Because you fall in love.
Yes.
Yes. And you get married. And when you're dating, we're spending a lot of time together and we're into each other. It's pretty cool, right? Because that's why we want to get married. And you're like, yeah, I love this guy. Yeah, and my best friend is good. Love, the whole thing. And then you get married. And you loved him. And you were, you loved your life and you were happy being a mom.
Yeah.
What starts happening? Talk to us women.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously when you get into that honeymoon phase, when you first meet someone, like you're totally bonded by the chemicals that are in your system, right? By the dopamine, by the oxytocin, by this new person that you think is like so amazing and they have no flaws, right? And it's like you're fantasizing about this dream life that you're going to have with someone, right? And that honeymoon stage can last anywhere from like 6 months to like 3 years, really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's usually the time period that people get married, right? Is as that's wearing off. And so then you move into this next season of being in a relationship with someone where the rose-tinted glasses come off a little bit, right? It's like the reality starts to settle in, and you're like, oh, they're not actually perfect. they're, they're not as amazing as I thought they were. They might have some flaws, right? They
Yeah.
start
Yeah.
to disappoint you.
Yeah.
They start to let you down. They start to like misunderstand you, or maybe you think that they can read your mind, but they can't, and you're not like really communicating very clearly. And you guys start to like get into that miscommunication cycle, right?
Miscommunication. Okay.
Yeah, miscommunication. And at that point, that's when people think, oh my gosh, am I with the wrong person, right? Did I marry the wrong person? Maybe this is not the right person for me, right? And they start to think like, actually, this isn't right. It doesn't feel like there's compatibility here. But funnily enough, that's actually not the case. It's just that you're learning to actually love them and like do love, right? Rather than like be in love. You know what I mean? You're learning to like create love rather than just be influenced by all of the chemicals of love. And then what tends to happen is you move into the next phase where you start to add the kids and the house and the responsibilities, right? And like that's what I call the resentment stage, where you start to take on a lot. And because maybe you don't have those good communication skills and you feel misunderstood, the resentment builds up and it builds up and it builds up, and you start to project onto them and they start to project onto you. And they start to actually be a mirror of you, right? Yeah. And so this is a powerful stage, because if you get awareness in this stage and you really dive into this stage, like you can get to see things about yourself and your patterns, right? What we were just talking about. Your patterns, your trauma, your past will all start to play out on the stage of your relationship, right? But it will come out as if it is them. And it's not.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Sophie, it's always them, right? It's always like, well, if he, why, he, yep. Okay,
Yeah,
this is good. This is good. Okay.
Yeah, and you start to be like, oh, his is because of his mom. It's because of his dad. His dad was just like that, right? And then you point it out because it's like, I got to tell him. I've got to tell him.
You know, the reason why you're the way you are is because you're dead.
Yeah, and so you're like criticizing, right? And it's like you're just chipping away with every single.
And we think we're doing it with love, you know what I mean?
Yeah, what if they don't know, right? It's like, oh my gosh, if I don't tell them, how are they ever going to know that they have to change this thing, right?
I laugh, this is so true.
Yeah. And so that's like what I call the resentment stage.
That's real. That was real.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely was in that stage for a long time. And then couples will slide into like the roommate stage, right? And it's like the silent divorce. I don't know if you've heard of like that silent divorce sometimes, where it's like,
what is a silent divorce?
Well, so that's when everyone's kind of given up, right? So it's like, and that will happen. What we see actually is it happens more with men, right? Because after being in the resentment stage and when they feel criticized, right? The guy will start to think, she's never happy. Right? There's nothing I can do to make her happy.
Okay.
And so he will just shut down and withdraw, right? And he will avoid. And so this is where sometimes you're not going to have those big explosive arguments, right? He might pull away more. He might be at work more. He might be in his man cave more. He's avoiding you.
He's avoiding.
He's avoiding you. And sometimes this is also when a woman will be like, he's avoidant. Something on Instagram explained how my spouse's behavior is.
He's avoidant. That's it.
He's avoidant. And so then you go to him and you're like, you're avoidant. And this is why you're doing this thing. And so, and then he's like, he's avoiding you more because he doesn't want to be around you because, you know,
because all of a sudden we think that we're psychologists. We're like, we know this now. We saw this thing. And I just want to talk about attachment styles.
Yes.
You're avoidant. I can tell you right now. You don't even have to do anything. I already know. And then the guy's probably like, what the? Like, seriously, who wants to be told anything like that?
Yeah. And then because of the way that the brain works, right, and it's filtering information that backs up our beliefs, all we're going to see is belief all we're going to see is more evidence that he is actually avoidant, right? Or he is actually whatever because that's just the way that the brain works when it starts to filter the information. So,
that was good. Can you talk a little bit about that? What happens with the brain
yeah,
when the brain starts filtering the information?
yeah, exactly. So we live in a world where there's just so much information, right? Like so much coming into our brain, and our brain has to filter information, otherwise we would be completely overloaded, right?
Okay.
And you might have heard of the reticular activating system,
Yes.
which is basically filtering information based on our beliefs, right? And so if you have a belief that your husband is, let's say, avoidant, or your husband's lazy, or your husband it's just
Doesn't
like his
care,
dad,
like he
or
doesn't care,
he doesn't care, he doesn't love me, right? And so
doesn't love me.
this can come from a deep-seated root belief of I'm not worthy, I'm not loved, people always leave me, right? Or whatever like deep belief that we have about
That was
ourselves.
me. That's relatable back then. Yes, what you're saying right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So it can be like one of those deep core beliefs that we had even
Yep.
before we got into the
Yes.
relationship.
Yes.
Or it can be a belief that we start to develop about our spouse, right?
Okay.
It can be a belief that we have about men. All men are, right?
Yep.
And so then we are going to look for information on a subconscious level that reaffirms that belief because we want to prove ourselves right. And we're going to see more and more and more evidence that stacks up, and we're going to point it out more. We're going to focus on it more. We're going to criticize it more, and we are going to have it get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
So that's, oh, wait a minute, Sophie. So you're talking about, oh, this is so good. Okay. This is kind of like the same thing when you, what they call, like they said this before, you see a red car, or they say red car, and then all of a sudden you see red cars all the time. It's just something that you're focusing on, that it really becomes like it's more of awareness. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm. That's exactly it. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if we keep focusing on, like you said, the guy, and that disempowering focus, like, oh, he's so avoidant. Oh, he doesn't talk. Oh my gosh. No, you guys don't understand. Like, he's just, he shuts down. I think he's kind of a jerk. But I'm not going to say that, but he's just so, when we start that's what keeps showing up.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
because
we really think it's them. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing is, like, he has, your husband, or the guy that you're with, has all of the good and all of the bad, right? We all do.
Yeah,
We have
100%.
the light and we have the shadows, right? And it's really dependent on what side you focus on, right? And so when you were in that honeymoon stage, you thought they're amazing. They weren't avoidant then, right? But suddenly when we get into that part of marriage and we're so hyper focused on what they're not doing, that's when they become that. And that's when we speak it, we really speak it into existence. Yeah.
That's good. Okay. I'm going to take you back. So you fall in love, you have your kids, 4 babies, beautiful, congratulations. Life is, going along, and then boom. This is what happens, you guys. This is why I talk about this all the time on this show. Life will always happen. This is why it's so important that we really pour into our relationships and the people we love, because life is always going to happen, but our relationships should also be where we come, for security and safety and being with our best friends. But if we are not aware of ourselves, and we're, putting all the blame on the guy, and we're not showing up, and we're not doing our part, because let me tell you something, like anything else in life, this is real. It really does take 2 people to be able to, pour into each other, to have patience, all the things, right? It really does. You got to, relationships, it's not like what she just said, which is kind of like how it happens. You're like, get married. Like, okay, well, I'm married, check, done. Next, no. This is what she's saying right now. You actually keep pouring into the relationship. That's the beauty of it. And learning about yourself and how you're showing up. Okay. Got all
Yeah.
that. Got
Yeah.
all that. Okay.
I love
So,
that.
so now your man is like, I mean, honestly, Sophie, oh my goodness, a mama of 4, never thinking she's gonna get a divorce. Also, I mean, seriously, your sister? Sorry about that. Like, I mean, that was a
Thank you.
lot.
Yes, it was.
That was a lot.
Mhm.
But you saying to me that you knew that something needed to shift and you knew there had to be you, and you're like, I'm not gonna control this. I'm gonna slow this down. Okay, so let's talk
Yeah.
about that. So what happened
Yeah.
here? So now the guy's moved out,
Yeah.
and so you're like, okay, ladies. So right now he's actually moved out. So she's like, the evidence is that he don't want to be with me.
Yeah, yeah, and that was what he was saying as well.
So
There was no
so
it was
right,
very clear that
it
was
was
what
very
was
clear.
going
I
on.
don't want to
Yes.
be with you. But
Yeah.
then Sophie is not doing, and I'm so happy she didn't do this. And ladies, please listen to this part. Listen to what she's about to say. This is the shift right here. Even if the guy says your husband or whatever it is, and you love him, and that was the first time that you're kind of like, oh, I've never looked at myself. Okay, hold on. What's going on here? And your husband's to that point that he's actually saying that to you and saying, I want out.
Yeah.
And he leaves. Listen to what she does next. Let's listen to this advice. Okay. I'm gonna
Okay.
get quiet now. I'm going quiet.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So what did I do next? Well, firstly, I was like, what have I done to contribute to this situation? Right. So I
Sophie, that's so
really
good.
got honest with myself, right? And there was some stuff that like downloaded right as it happened. And I was like,
Okay.
oh my gosh, this is what it was, right? And some like real truth bombs like hit me in the moment because I had literally spent like the previous 2 years being so mad and angry at him,
Okay.
doing all the things that I say don't do to my
Okay.
clients. I had been doing, yelling,
You were
screaming,
doing it. Okay.
videotaping him being mad at me, like everything embarrassing and wrong I did, right?
Okay.
Thinking that this was going to change, right? And so when he said, I'm done, I'm out, something completely shifted in me that I was like, okay, wait, like I now have to be really serious and honest with what is on my side of the street, right?
Got that.
What have I
Yes.
contributed to this? Because interestingly enough, like you said, that I had done so much work on myself. I really, truly had. And even in my relationship with my sister before she died, there was issues in that relationship too. And I had worked with this incredible grief coach to really help me clean my side of the street and repair my relationship with my sister so that when she did die, I felt this incredible peace. And I knew that I had done everything in my power to show up as the best sister that I could in the time that I had left, right? And so I felt that that relationship was complete, right? And I wanted to feel that way in my marriage too. And so I just started to reflect like, oh my gosh, like I was expecting my husband to treat me like a queen, but I did not treat him like a king, right? I
Ooh,
never.
stop, Sophie, stop right there. Stop. Nope, stop. Mm-mm. 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 No. We're stopping Sophie right now. Wow. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I don't know how many times I have heard us women, me included. Did you hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, but back then. Okay. Really thought that the man should treat me like a queen. But I would never look at how I was going to treat him. I just assumed that's how it's going to be. I never thought about, Charlene, if you want someone to treat you like a queen, are you treating them like a king?
Yeah.
Wow. Keep
Yeah.
going, girl. That was
Well, and
good.
like all the things, you know, I expected him to call me on the way home from work. I expected him to bring me stuff that I wanted from the store. When he came in, he would give me a big hug and a kiss, and I'd be like, get off me. I'm busy, you know? I would be so preoccupied with what I was doing, but yeah, I expected him to continue to show up for me,
Yes, and
right?
you
And
were not pouring anything into the guy. Oh my
no, nothing,
goodness.
because I was pouring into my kids
The
and
baby. Yes.
my job, right? And
And your
I
job, yep.
was so done and so burnt out that I had absolutely nothing left to give to my marriage, right? And that
Yes.
he was getting the scraps, right? And I was too, because he was then giving everything to work. And so we had like nothing left for each other, right? And
Nothing.
so yeah, I just really started to reflect on like, oh my gosh, I don't think I've said to my husband, you look handsome, since our wedding day. You know, that was
Oh,
like a thing because
really? Right? That's a big
that was
deal.
a big deal. And like, and you know, something really powerful happened when we had that conversation about him moving out. He said to me, I
Yes.
don't think that you really love me.
Oh,
And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I do everything for you. I do the
I love
laundry.
you.
I cook, I clean, I love you, you know, and he was like, I just don't think that you do. Like, I know you love the kids, but I don't really think that you love me. And that conversation like sat with me for a while, you know, and I was like, yeah, like I haven't been showing up warm and open-hearted and loving. And I really wanted to, you know, reflect on that and heal that and clean that and like look at like what was stopping me from being able to let love in, right? Like what was stopping me from being able to open up my heart? Because I had essentially gone into the relationship with a pretty shut down heart anyway. And
Oh,
big
that's so
walls.
good. Oh,
Yeah.
you just brought up I had a question. Okay, this is like you're right there. Like you're getting in my head. Okay. Oh, this is good. Okay. So a question that I wrote, I told you I write questions the day before, which is fascinating how they always come up like this. I love this. I love this. Okay. So I'm going to read my long-winded question. It's okay, you guys. You guys know how I am. Here we go. This is good. Okay. Because the listeners right now, they're like, okay, I think this is me. I don't want this to happen. What am I gonna do? How can I change this? Okay, we're not connecting. I know the listeners right now are like, oh, okay, Shar, go for it. Ask her the question. Here I go. You've been really open. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is perfect. You've been really open about your own story and how your marriage came close to ending. Your husband literally was like, I'm out, and you're moving out.
Yeah.
While raising your 4 little ones. Okay, again, that's a lot. That's a lot because now your marriage is ending and you still, no matter what, you gotta still raise your kids. Like, you have to still have your children and concentrate on the children, but then you're like, "How am I gonna like, what's gonna happen here with the marriage?" Okay? So, while raising 4 little ones, that honestly is what makes your work so powerful to me. And, because not only and I know I write this thing and now I'm talking because this is how I do it, but to me, again, when I told you, and I'm not gonna get into my story today, it's not about me, but like I said, I was married and I had 4 kids,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I know, and, so I'm gonna keep reading because I'm like, "Charlene, don't get
Mhm.
into this." Okay, but, honestly, this is what makes your work so powerful because what was the biggest inner shift that helped you turn things around? And what do you wish women knew before they reached this point?
Mm. Yeah, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think that I wish that women knew that they don't have to do it all, right?
Okay.
And that
Ooh.
being vulnerable and being soft is not a weakness. Right. I grew up in a family that was like women were strong, independent women. Right. And I had also grown up very independent as a kind of trauma response to my childhood. Right. And
Yes.
so I carried that with me. Like, I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. Right. And I was very much like, I do it all alone. I would tell anyone that listened, like, I'm a single mom, even though I'm married. Right. And I thought that I did it all. And I wore it like a badge, but I also like created a big separation between me and my husband.
There you go.
Right. And so I wish women knew that like your husband wants to be your hero. He
Yes.
wants to step up. He wants to he wants to be wanted.
Yes.
Right. And so it's I believe that it's our job as women to really connect firstly with our heart and learn how to be in our heart space and connect with that and be vulnerable enough to be to open up our heart, right? because our men connect to us through our heart and through our vulnerability. If
Oh,
we've got a big layer on of armor of I don't need you and da 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 da, da, you know, like they got no role, right?
no role.
No role, and they want to lead. They want that that space to come in and to really be, like I said before, your hero, right?
Yes.
And to get those
You're
points and
spot
to
on.
yeah. So that's one of the big things that I would say. And I think that women, I know that I did use this like I'm so busy badge of like, let me just do more, let me be more, let me prove myself over and over again, rather than just like being in the season of life that you're in. And if you're in motherhood, it's messy, and that's okay,
It's
right?
okay.
And you don't need to go to every. I mean, I'm kind of going off on a tangent, but you don't need to go to every kid's birthday party, right? You don't need to do all the things. But what you do need to do is take care of yourself, right? Like to tap into your feminine energy, to connect with yourself, and to make time for that intimate relationship.
I love that. No, that is, I mean, honestly, just you giving that simple clarity, it's almost like this weird permission in a sense, because a lot of us women, it's just how you're right. It was me. It's how we grew up. That was my culture. I was in survival mode.
Survival mode,
And
yeah.
I really was. And the messaging that I used to get was, "Oh, you don't need a man. You do it on your own." You know what I mean? "Oh, you can't trust those men." And I'm like, "Okay." And so so I became hyper independent, and
Yeah.
I and I can do it all, girlfriend. I was really good at doing a lot of things, and I have 4 kids, and I had I mean, like, are you kidding me? To the point that I was so busy and exhausted and not connected to myself, and just like every day was just flying by, that I can totally see this.
Mm-hmm.
This is real. This is real.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the work, ladies. Like, this is something that I had to, I mean, when my marriage ended, and I'm so happy Sophie is here today and she's doing this and she's talking about this, because she's going to continue on telling you what she did, and they're good now. um, but but when my marriage ended too, oh my goodness, talk about reflection. Talk about I couldn't breathe for a while, because it was the first time in my life that, like, I was almost forced, Sophie. I was almost forced, to, because I really thought when I was married too, I poured a lot into my kids. I was a busy person, and I kinda thought that too. I was just like, "It's okay." I felt like, I didn't really need to pour like that, even though we had fun too, and it was cool, and I don't know. But man, I missed it. I missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ladies, I don't want you to miss it. That's why I actually doing this show. I'm really doing this show because I don't
Oh.
want you to miss it. I really am. And, I think that's really what birthed this show, is that, if you don't have to, if you can slow down a little bit and get a little clarity, and get some clarity about yourself, and listen to people like Sophie, oh, man. Oh, it's the biggest gift you can do for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so powerful. And I was just talking to a client of mine today, and when I met her, she was on the brink of divorce. They were about to go to child custody court. Like, so many of her relationships were in a complete mess. Her relationship with her in-laws was non-existent. Like, and she was saying to me, there is no way that this can turn around. And I was like, there is, right? You just have to take that first step. You just have to take that first step. Anyway, so I was talking to her today. She was in one of my groups, and she just actually made like a super sweet testimonial video for me. And she was like, the thing is, like, people don't realize that this is really possible. It is
Yes.
truly possible. And she has healed not just her marriage. Like, she shared with me this super cute gift her husband bought for her yesterday, but they're back together, living together,
Oh,
like totally renewed their marriage. She also repaired her relationship with her in-laws that was non-existent. They hated her, she hated him. That she also repaired her relationship with her father that she hadn't spoken to in 6 years because she was so angry, right? And so this relationship and really healing like the roots, right? Like the trauma, the wounds of the masculine, right? Like really getting into those like deep layers underneath the surface. You don't just heal your marriage, like you heal your whole lineage, and you're not
yes,
just doing it for you, you're doing it for your future generations. You're breaking.
yes,
And this particular client had generational trauma, right? As
yes, that
I
was
did,
me.
right?
Yes, yes,
Generational trauma of betrayal, like for me and my
yes.
family, generational trauma of divorce, betrayal, like all of this stuff, right? And
Same,
so
same.
when it comes up, it's coming up as an opportunity for you to actually heal this so that your children are freed from it, right? And
Yes,
whether you stay or whether you go, I think
correct.
it's an incredible opportunity, right? And just like you said, Charlene, like it forces you. So
Yes,
many of my clients come to me and they're like, I had no other choice. Like, I had to do something like this. And if I wasn't in this much pain, I probably wouldn't have done it, right? And so it can take that pain to actually make a change.
yes. Oh, let me ask you this. Another question just came up that I wrote. Oh, this is so good. It's like your timing. Oh my goodness. Okay. Something that you talk about a lot, and this is what we're talking about right now. And I know for so many women will relate to this, is when a marriage starts to feel more like roommates than partners. What's the first shift a woman can make to start bringing back that spark or that emotional intimacy or the awareness of herself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And so when you get into that roommate stage, what I see a lot of women doing is starting to overfunction, right? Because they're like, oh my gosh, we're in the roommate stage. We should be in a much better place in our relationship. We should
Okay.
be having sex like every other day or 3 times a week or whatever. Like, this has to be fixed because we should, right? And so then they get into do it mode, right? They'll be like,
Okay.
I'm organizing a date, I'm booking a date, we're going away. Like
Oh,
they
relatable. This is so good, Sophie. Like, seriously, you really are. I'm sorry. I shouldn't interrupt you. This is so good because I know the listeners, and because I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so me. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm
Or they'll
listening.
be like, okay, I gotta schedule sex, we've got to schedule intimacy, we've got to, and then so what they're doing, and they don't realize that they're doing it, is actually getting into their masculine energy, right? They're getting into like the pursuer energy, which turns a man off, actually,
Yes.
right? And so yeah, he might go out on a date with you like my husband would, right? But then you know what I would do on these dates as well,
What
Charlene?
would you
I
do?
would book the restaurant. I would be the one that's like walking up, like, hello, party of two, right? Like
Oh
I
my
would
God,
walk in front, I was the boss, in
you were
this
the boss
whole,
babe. Yep.
yes.
Mhm.
And so my husband, I was kind of dragging him
Yeah.
along on
Yeah.
these dates, and we
Yeah.
had nothing to say. There was
Yeah.
no, we just kind of look at each other like,
There
oh,
was no like,
no,
hey,
yeah,
yeah,
no
yeah, yeah, yeah,
passion, no
yeah, yeah,
excitement.
yeah.
Um, and so I see a lot of women doing that. They get into
Okay.
like that over functioning masculine energy when they get into the roommate stage. And then their guy actually gets turned off by that energy,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Instead of what women should actually do is ask themselves, am I turning myself on? Right?
Oh.
Am I connected to myself? Am I connected to my essence, my feminine energy? Am I having fun? Am I enjoying my life? Right? Am I taking care of myself? Do I feel like I'm romanticizing my life? Right? Am I in my own energy?
Oh, I
Because
love
when you can do this, you become like very magnetic, right? And men want women. It's like we're the ones that excite the men, right? It's pretty easy for us to like
yeah.
turn a man on, but we need to be able to turn ourselves on first, and not necessarily just in the sexual way, right? We have to be able to be turned on by life,
Yes.
and then we give off like an energetic signal to our man, like, oh, okay, there's something different about her. She's smiling today. Wow, that's
Yes, and
interesting,
she's
right?
excited. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Like, oh,
yes.
she's wearing a nice dress today, right? And then he starts to get into the role of the pursuer, which is the masculine role, which is creating more polarity, more sexual chemistry in the relationship, right? And so when we can embody our feminine energy and really understand what it is and how it feels and how we feel when we're around our man and we're in that feminine energy, he's going to be so much more inclined to book a dinner, right? To chase you and to pursue you, right? And then our job as women is to be able to receive that, to be able to actually,
Receive. That's the hardest part for us women,
yeah,
is
because we want to
receiving.
do it so that we can, we don't have to get vulnerable. And a lot of women misunderstand vulnerability with like crying to get our needs met, right? Like, I'm being
Nope.
so vulnerable. I'm telling him he's not listening to me, right? It's like, no, it's actually really vulnerable to be open and to allow him in and to give him connection to your heart. But if we're not connected to our heart, then they have no space to come in.
They have no space to come in.
Mm.
And I think I think too, when we talk about this, that is really truly one of the first awareness is, where can you just let go of control and allow yourself to receive? And when I'm talking to women too, I'm like, ladies, I said, listen, 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 listen. Trust me, you're coming from a recovering, woman that used to do that in a marriage and it didn't work. Okay. And yeah, hi. Um, and people that knew me back then in the marriage that I was then in the marriage now, they're like, wow, you're absolutely a different person, because I felt like I was that person that you just said in my old marriage. I was the doer, I was the planner, and weirdly enough, I actually was married to a very masculine man. But this is what happens with masculine men, ladies. If we continue on showing up and trying to, do all the things and do all the things, they get to a point, they're just like, I'm out. They'll check out.
Well,
They're not
because
gonna,
there can't be two men
they
in the
can't.
relationship, right? Like
Yeah.
energetically with a masculine man, like if you're occupying the masculine pole in the
Yep.
container of the relationship, right? There's no space for them. So two things are going to happen. Either they're going to fall into their feminine energy, which is where you see guys just laying on the couch, like getting really lazy, doing nothing,
Yes.
right?
Doing
They'll
nothing,
be,
just working and coming home and doing nothing.
yeah, that's like them falling flat into their feminine. They give up. They're like, right? Or you're going to repel them, because they're
Yes.
going to want to, it's like magnets, right? They're going to actually get repelled away from you. And that's when you're going to see men moving away,
Yes.
divorcing, separating, having affairs, like all
Having
that stuff.
affairs and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, because if you again, if you are the one that is the planner, the doer, the doing all the things, there's no opportunity for him. And then a lot of women will say to me, "Oh, but he doesn't do it."
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't have to.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't have, he doesn't have to, and he doesn't feel safe to, most likely. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. One of the things that I love about the message is how you help women lead from softness and strength instead of control. From the women who's always been independent, me again, or in survival mode, me again. How does she begin to let go and trust again?
Yeah, that's such a good question, Charlene. I think, firstly, it's really important to heal your nervous system
Okay.
and to really, really, really regulate your nervous system, which is why I have nervous system coaches in my program that work specifically with women on their nervous system, right?
Okay.
Because if we're all ramped up and we've been in that survival mode for so long, we're not going to feel safe to let our guard down. We're not even going to feel safe to do any of the deeper work that we need to do, right? So first we need to really regulate our nervous system, right? And be able to calm ourselves down. And then, because again, you're not going to want to let go of control if you're absolutely petrified, right? If your nervous system is like revved up, I'm so scared, I can't let go, right?
Right.
And so we need to create safety within your body first before we can start to create safety in the relationship, right?
I love that.
the interesting thing is as well that like people will feel your nervous system, right? Your spouse feels your nervous system, your children feel your nervous system. So when you regulate and heal your nervous system, he is going to feel different around you. So that's really important. And then we have to look at like what is going on underneath the surface. What are the unconscious beliefs that are running you? Like what is the programming that you have that's running you that makes you believe that you need to control in order to be safe, right? That makes you believe that you have to do everything to be loved. That makes you believe that you have to be in performance mode constantly to be worthy, all of that stuff, and really pull out the roots of what's going on and have awareness there, right?
Because the awareness, yes.
Exactly. Then we can heal at that subconscious level and start to really program in what we want to create in the relationship.
Oh, that's good. Okay, I really like that. Well, then I'm going to take you back again. So now he's gone and you moved out. You're like, oh my goodness. How long was that process and what started happening? Because I know that you're together and I know it's good. Yeah. Hold on. Let's not go there yet. We're going to keep you hanging. Okay. What started happening?
Yeah, so he like partially moved out. He didn't move out full time because he came back for the kids. Like, so it was like half the week he was home, half the week he was gone. But what I really started to do was I started to like learn as much as I could about what makes a marriage good. Right. And I had been the one, I knew all the psychological theories, I knew attachment styles, I knew all of this stuff, but I didn't really know like the nuts and bolts of like how to have a good marriage and how to be a good wife. Like literally, I thought that was for like my grandma, like I had no interest in being a good wife. Like I really didn't. Right. And I thought I was because I was doing all the things, right? I was like organizing everything. And so I kind of like budgeted. I was like, this is how much it's going to cost me to get a divorce. Right. And so this is how much I can probably invest in order to save my marriage. Right. And so I started Googling like marriage saving programs. I did them literally all. Like I know them all. I've done them all. I ordered tons and tons and tons of books. And I just got to work. And I really started to like try different things, right? And anytime I saw my husband, I would start to apply different things. The first thing that I did was for the first probably 3 months, I just got really quiet because we had been fighting like crazy. And I was so triggered, very, very easily triggered, that I was like, I'm just going to work on my triggers. And I'm going to work on just like calming down, being with myself, trying to figure out what the heck is going on in my life, right? Like try to get through the day. It was a lot, like even to get out of bed, honestly, and like get through the day was a lot. So I worked on my triggers and I worked on like not saying the first thing that came to my mind, because there was a very short time between a thought that I had and like what came out of my mouth. It was like, whoop. And so to try and like stop that reactionary way of being took me about 3 months. It took me about 3 months. And I really started to visualize like, this is where I want to go, right? He's saying we're done, but I want to create this incredible marriage, not the one that we had before. No. This better, more connected. And I really started to visualize that could be possible for me, right? And so I was really very conscious that I needed my actions to align with this vision of where I had, not my immediate emotional response, right? Because day by day, I was like up and down. Like one day I was like, I am done, and the next day I was like,
I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah. And so every day I was like, I'm going to align my actions with my goal, right? My actions with my goal, despite my emotions. Which was pretty new to me because I am a very emotional being, right? A very emotional creature. And I would just be quite reactive to my emotions. Anyway, so that was really, really important for me. Can you hear me okay, Charlene? Yeah? Can you hear me?
Oh, I lost you a little bit. Hold on. Just lost you a little bit. Hold on a second. Just come back. Hold on a second. Okay, I think you're back. Yeah.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Yeah. So I really started to like visualize, where do I want to go? And I gave myself a year, right? I think this
Okay.
is really important. I lengthened the timeline, right? Because I knew that we had dug ourselves a pretty deep hole and it was going to take a while to get out, right?
Yep.
And at the time that it happened, my husband, he could barely look at me. He really didn't like me. We had been so mean to each other for quite a long
Yeah.
time by that point,
Yeah.
that I understood that it was going to take a while for us to have a different experience of each other.
That
Right.
makes a lot of sense. Yep.
So essentially, pretty close to right away, I did like a 180.
Okay.
I just started showing up. I was like, who do I have to be to have this marriage that I want, right?
Yep.
Marriage 2.0, who do I have to be?
Yep.
And how can I be that person now, even though he doesn't want me, right? Even though he doesn't.
That's good, Sophie. That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, it was tough like that. I remember my
Of
husband's
course.
first, there was a birthday that he had like pretty soon after he moved out. And I remember thinking like, oh gosh, like what should I do for his birthday? And then I thought, what would I do for his birthday if we had this amazing marriage that I really want? Right. And so I was like, okay, I would make a big deal, right? I would do things from love. And so I decided to do that, even though it felt really weird, like to give him a big birthday and celebrate him, you know, because he had moved out. Like I would really ask myself every day, like, who should I be today? And I started to reach out to him and build connection, right? We had gotten very, very platonic, right? There was no flirting, it was like, can you pick up the milk on the way home? You know, like, did you pay the water bill? Like that was the extent of our communication. So I made a really big conscious effort to communicate more with him. And in the beginning, I kind of hid behind my kids and I would send him like funny pictures of the kids. I was like, look at what they did today, you know, but I tried to make our interactions when we saw each other like really positive. Because, you know, I talk to my clients a lot about this, like the pain to pleasure principle, right? Like people as humans, we're going to want to move away from pain and towards pleasure. Right. So I understood that if I made it nice for him to be around me, if we had a good time together, he was going to want to be home more. And so when I saw him, I would smile every time I saw him, which hadn't been happening. I hadn't smiled at the guy for a long time. Right. So,
you're like, I never smiled at the guy. Yeah. You're like, but now I'm smiling. I'm like, hey.
Yeah. And like I would start to thank him for things, you know, like when he took the trash, like little things, you know, I was like, thank you for doing that. I appreciate it, you know? And I started to be really intentional about focusing on what is it about this man? Because I really, truly thought he had changed. I was like, he has become a different person in my mind and he wasn't a good one. Right. And so I had to think back to who was the guy that I married? Why did I marry him? What were his qualities? And I had to really, really dig deep because I knew they were still there. They were just buried under like all of this anger and all of this resentment, right? And so I would meditate on that, right? And I would sit every day on my bed and I would imagine the version of him that I met. And so when I was interacting with him, when he was coming home, that was the guy that I was expecting to see, right? And he started over time to show up more and more as that.
Yep.
And then I had been like helicopter mom to the max. Like I did everything. I was always around. I would criticize his parenting. If he said something to one of the kids, I was like, oh no, I wouldn't do it that way, right? And when he was with the kids, I would just sit back and I would just let him parent. And I would just close my mouth.
Yep.
And I would say things to him like, you're such a great dad.
Yes.
And I remember the first time I said to him, like, you're such a good dad. And he looked at me and he like almost had tears in his eyes. And he was like, do you really think so? And I said, yes. And I'm so sorry that I haven't told you more what a good dad you are. Wow. Because for years I just said, you're not doing it right. You're not
doing it right. Do it this way. They don't need that. Don't do that. Criticize. Yep.
And in that moment, I started to see like, this isn't a bad person. This isn't somebody that hates me. This is somebody who's so deeply hurt. And so I started to create a lot of safety in the relationship and safety for him to come back and safety for him to relax. And I realized that like, me exploding or us having a big fight like was not safe, right? And so figuring out my reactions, figuring out my triggers, and at the same time I really did like a deep dive into understanding why did we get here? What happened to us, right? What have I brought in from my life that created this kind of like, fortress, this ice queen that I had been, right? And starting to work on those layers of within me that was so deeply scared of like letting him in, and really seeing him, right? And why had I tried to cut him down to like make him feel bad and knock his self-confidence in a way so that I could feel safer, right? And I realized that like if I lifted him up and I really truly saw him for the man that he could be, like that was very vulnerable for me, because like then I was with an amazing man, and everyone wants an amazing man, right? And so I realized that on a very subconscious level, I'd cut him down and cut him down and cut him down and cut him down, because I thought that, and I did this completely without knowing it.
No, it's
right.
yeah.
And it made it
why we're having these conversations. Yeah.
Yeah, that it made it safer for me.
Yeah.
Right. And I didn't realize the pain that I had caused him, because I was so focused on the pain that I was in.
Yes.
Right. And I learned how to show up with unconditional love, which I didn't think was really applicable in marriage. I was like, no, I just don't unconditional. No, I mean, there was so many conditions, right? And so I learned how to like really soften and be kind and be loving and see him in this struggle, right? And yes, I was going through a huge struggle myself, and it was deeply painful.
Yes.
But so was he. And I learned to like see him in that, and we actually created so much beautiful connection that we had the best conversations that we'd ever had in our whole marriage. And we started to become really, really good friends first, which was so nice. And then we started to date again. Like I remember we would go out for dinners, and I would let him like, order the wine and walk me to the table, and just like, it was easy. It got to be easy. And I didn't feel like I needed to fill every conversation with my, leading everything all the time. And it took about a year for him to move home. But it was amazing. And it was really like such a journey of transformation. And it continues to be, like you said, life is still life, like problems come up, and our relationship just gets deeper and deeper because we know how to connect with each other, and he's my best friend and I'm his best friend, but that was not the way before at all.
Are you guys best friend lovers?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's the amazing thing too. Because like, I have no interest at all. Like, I was kind of like grossed out,
You're
I was like,
I'm just not into that anymore.
I was like, yeah, I'm after kids,
Yeah.
But like, he has changed to me so much. Like, I find him so attractive, and he's the same person, So it's like, yeah, it's incredible. What can change?
Sophie, it is so incredible, because the work that you're doing, I wish you were here, because I would just hug you so hard, like hug you. This is again, thank you. Honestly, thank you. Thank you, because
You're welcome.
it takes courage. It takes, real vulnerability to look at yourself and realize, oh my gosh, it's me. I'm the common denominator here. It's me too. What the world? And the way that you're talking, and the way that you're being so vulnerable, and talking about how you were showing up, that is going to help so many women, Sophie, so many women, because they can relate to this. Like, oh, I do that. Oh, I do that. No wonder maybe we're not connected. But Sophie, now you're telling me that you were on this side and then you finally like, you know what? I gotta get real. I'm gonna do the work. And you did the work. And not only that, you did the work and then you created this program and you're like helping people and it's like a mission and everything. That is true hope that we are not stuck.
Not at all. Not at all.
So
And I
talk
think
about
that,
that. Talk about that. Like people truly
no,
feel.
you're not stuck.
Please say it
Yeah.
because they think they're stuck. They literally, I can't even tell you how many people I have talked to. They're like, Charlene, you don't understand. There's no way. And I know you hear it all the
Yeah.
time. There's no way. No, there's no way. There's no way. No, no, no. This is done. I don't even know. Go. I want you to talk about that.
No, you're not stuck. And the only person that's keeping you stuck is you.
There you go.
Right. And so is the relationship going to work out? Maybe, maybe not. Right. But most of the time, yes, when you do the work. Right. But if you don't do the work, it will repeat itself in another relationship. So the only person standing in your way is you, literally, of anything that you want in your life ever. Right? It's just we have more resistance around relationships. We have more stories around relationships. We have more fear around relationships, right? And when we're in a relationship with somebody else, we literally give our power away to that other person. And we say, they're saying this happened. I mean, literally, I get like hundreds of messages a day. They're
Yes.
saying it's over, so it's over. I even heard a message a little while ago. It's like, I'm going to wait for my therapist to tell me whether my relationship is over. And I'm like, wait, hold on. You're going to give your power away to somebody that you just met in a therapist's office or on Zoom? No, right?
Nope.
You decide, and in a relationship, you are 50% of the relationship. Everyone says it takes two to tango. It does, but you're 50%. It's not like you're 5% or 10%. Like you have a huge influence over the relationship. And especially as a woman, you have a huge amount of influence over the relationship. And so when you shift and change, your relationship has to shift and change. It has to. It is law. Like it literally is law. And so if you're staying stuck because of you, not because of them, because of you. And I think that people stay stuck sometimes because it feels more familiar than doing something that can feel scary, which is like maybe investing in themselves, maybe getting uncomfortable and having to get vulnerable with a coach or a therapist, right? And so they're like, I'm staying stuck here because I've talked about it for so long and I'm so comfortable with being stuck. It feels familiar, but you're not stuck.
You're not stuck. Oh my goodness, you guys. And you know what? I kept Sophie so long and I feel like I have not even started with her.
I know I could talk for like 20 hours.
We can literally talk for 20 hours, okay? I have a couple things. Oh my gosh, this is so good. She's coming back. I know she is. Okay, here we go. So I have one question, and then after I read this last question, I want to see if it's because it was one on my heart. Then I want to know how we're going to get into your world and how we can work with you. So let me ask you this question. I know so many women listening right now are craving that kind of deep connected love that you're talking about. But they might feel like it's too late, like we just said. They're too broken or they're too far gone. If you could speak directly to that woman, and I think you just did, the one who's holding on by a thread, what would you want her to know about hope, healing, and what's still possible in love? I think you said
yeah, absolutely. That it is possible, that it's all possible, that you can have it all, and it's your birthright to have a beautiful, connected marriage. You just have to believe that it's possible. You have to surround yourself with inspiration rather than things that pull you down. And I think that you have to get into a place where you can dream and you can really be clear about what you want. That's the first and most important thing. And then be open, right? Because the universe will bring you teachers, guides, things into your life, right? As signs. And you just have to know where it is that you're going or what you want and believe it's possible for you. And it is 100%. I say this to anyone that I talk to. I'm not special. There's the only thing that I did is I believed that it was possible, and I had a goal and I had a vision, and I wanted to be able to get there. And that is all. And I have seen my clients do it over and over and over and over and over again. So I know that it's not just me, it's possible for all of you.
Oh, Sophie, thank you. Honestly, how do they get in your world? How can they work with you? Where do they go from here?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can go to Sophie Orozco Coaching on Instagram. I spend a lot of time on Instagram. I have a small TikTok account. I think it's Sophie Orozco Coaching too, or sophieorozco.com. It's my website. On Facebook, I'm Sophie Orozco Coaching. I'm on YouTube too, but the big ones are Instagram, Facebook, and my website. Yeah.
Yeah. And you do individual, group? How do they work with you?
So my flagship program is Relationship Miracle Method, which is like a step-by-step deep dive into healing, right? Healing the nervous system, really working on like what's going on underneath the surface, giving you incredible communication tools so you can talk to your spouse again. So you can talk to him in a language that he can understand, right? And really hear you. That teaches you how to embody your feminine energy and draw him back in, to connect with yourself. I have sex and intimacy coaches working in my program, somatic coaches in my program. It's like we have group coaching calls nearly every day. It's like an incredible relationship turnaround program. So I highly recommend Relationship Miracle Method. Can you hear me, Charlene?
I just lost you for just a second. Okay. You said, I think I lost you. We have group coaching.
Oh, we have group coaching nearly every day. So it's like an absolute, relationship turnaround program. Highly recommend that. And then I do work with some one-on-one clients. I take a handful of one-on-one clients depending on my capacity. And then they just reach out on any of those platforms to inquire about one-to-one. Yeah. And we also have a men's program, and we also work with couples. So we have various different ways that people can work with us.
Oh, that's beautiful. Oh my goodness, you guys get into our world. Seriously. Yeah. That's why I'm bringing on these guests, honestly, to just provide so much value and hope, and we're not stuck, and we can turn things around. And you know what I really love too? This work, as she talked about, and you guys hear this every time, every week, pretty much. This work is the work that you have to do with somebody. You can't do this work on your own. You actually have to do it with someone, because they're the ones that are going to be able to really ask you deeper questions and give you a different guidance. And that's why Sophie is doing what she's doing. It's really gifting yourself this space and this time, and doing that for yourself, because it's not just healing your relationship, which of course, it's all your relationships. It's just how we show up as human beings. So it's amazing. Honestly, I cannot imagine not having done the work myself, where I would be right now. And it has completely changed my life. And I'm just so grateful that I did the work. And I'm so grateful that they can do the work with you. Sophie, thank you so much. Is there anything else? I know I got to let you go, that you want to share before we get off this podcast?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think that we could share so much more. Like I said, I can talk about this all day, every day. I have so much to share. But I do just genuinely really want to offer that hope, no matter where you are in your relationship. And it doesn't come from pushing him to do more or to talk about your relationship more, right? It really comes from starting within. And if we don't go within first, our external world is a reflection of our internal world, period. Right? And if we're not going inwards, we're never going to be, it's so hard to change our external world if we're not changing our internal world. It becomes really challenging and frustrating, right? Right. And so, yeah, it's definitely a worthwhile journey to go on.
To go in. Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Sophie. Honestly, thank you. Welcome. And to next time, cheers to great love. If you're loving this podcast and these incredible conversations, please hit the subscribe button and leave a 5-star review. Don't miss an episode, because each week I'll be bringing on guests and experts who will share their knowledge about love, dating, and relationships so you can apply it into your own life. I'll see you next week. And until then, cheers to great love.